Be like, hey, what's up, you guys? So it's your boy Obadiah here on this beautiful 4th of July evening. Just hanging out in the backyard garden again tonight. Right here we got a little bit of white Tahoe cookies and a pre-roll. Just went and grabbed it up from the Cannabis Club. So shout out to Empire, woo woo. Anyways, you guys, I'm out here just letting you know what's up with some new information. We basically are going to be doing a little chit chat tonight over fungus and bacteria. I want to talk to you guys about, again, fungus and bacteria, okay, because it's really important that you guys have a healthy food soil web or soil food web, excuse me, and by doing so your plant will be as vigorous and strong and healthy as possible, okay? So we're going to quickly go over some fungus and bacteria ideas, some things behind them and some principles behind them, and then we'll kind of go on from there, all right? So what I wanted to basically start with was your soil web, okay? Your soil web is the creation of a symbiotic relationship between bacteria, fungus, and your plant's minerals and phosphates and nitrates. So basically your plant and these beneficial bacteria or fungus, they create a relationship, and that relationship is symbiotic, okay? Or reciprocity. It's reciprocal, okay? So you give and take naturally. That's what the plant likes to do. I think like 90 or 85% of all plants have mycorrhizae and a mycorrhizae association in them. So it's important that you guys have that, okay? Because your soil will be much, much healthier with it if you have an association for your plant to help it to get out and access things it wouldn't normally access, okay? So fungi, let's talk about fungi real quick. Fungi can be, they're plant-like cells, so they have a cell wall. They can be single-celled or multicellular, okay? But a single cell is like yeast, and a multicellular would be what we call hyphae, the thin little lines or strings that mycorrhizae create among your plant roots. Those are called hyphae, okay? Together, when you add a mass of those hyphae like that, you get what we call mycelium, okay? And mycelium fungus is a very important symbiotic tool for your plant to gain what it needs to get, all right? Bacteria, on the other hand, is not so ubiquitous to plants. It actually is kind of dependent upon the species of the plant. Bacteria tends to develop quicker than fungus because it's smaller than fungus. Fungus tends to degrade slower than bacteria because fungus is larger, okay? But bacteria doesn't live as easily because it's smaller and it has a harder time reproducing itself than fungus does. That's why we have antifungals along with antivirals, and then we have antibacterials, all right? Those things are all separate tools, all right? They're not the same thing. So think about that when you're going to use these in your plants as well, okay? So real quickly, you guys, I'm gonna go over what we have are called fungal groups. There's 3 or 4 of these. It's just gonna take me 3 or 4 minutes to go over these. If you don't wanna hear this part, skip ahead about 2 or 3 minutes and I should be done, okay? Just because this is for the people that really want to know about fungus right here, and if they're adding fungus or making teas that are fungal dominant, okay? So number 1, the group is decomposers. Decomposers break down woody material like the stems of your plant and things of that nature. And root material and woody material inside your soil. They retain nutrients in your soil, okay? They keep nutrients inside the soil. They are organic, so what they do is they create these organic acids in the soil, and that organic acid creates an organic matter that is resistant to decomposition and degradation. So it takes it a lot longer to degrade and to decompose because it's stronger than otherwise, okay? So those are decomposers. Number 2 are what we call mutualists, all right? Mutualists are, as their name implies, they're mutually beneficial relationships with plants, okay? So like mycorrhizae fungi, those are an example. That's the best known, and they form inside the plant root, All right, that's called endomycorrhizae. If they form outside of the plant root, we call them ectomycorrhizae. All right, they're both very important. Arbuscular mycorrhizae are the most common types that we know about, that we use in our plants. They create a growth pattern that really gives the root more surface area. So you create a fatter root, like you have a root system like this. All right, your root with mycorrhizae added to it is going to look like this instead, but it's going to be, instead of it just being thicker like this, it's all these little hairs that come off, like these little, like this, like my thumbs are little hairs that come off, all right? And then they go off in different directions, and they're like little tendrils, little fingers that come out, and they help the root to grab and claw at things that they couldn't normally get at, all right, before. So that really helps the plant, those hyphae, to grab extra material, extra nutrients, and pull them in quicker and more effectively for the plant, okay? The final one is going to be pathogens. Pathogens are, they penetrate and decompose living soil, or living tissue, sorry, okay? They're basically, when you hear pathogenic, you can think hostile takeover, okay? That's what we don't want. We don't want pathogenic material in our soil. We don't want it in our material. We don't want pathogenic anything, okay? So that's the last part, okay? So you have decomposers, mutualists, and pathogens. Those are going to be the three types of fungi that we deal with, the fungi groups, okay? There are different bacteria groups as well, but I'm not going to cover those. Those are on a different video. So let me light my joint again. Again, this is White Tahoe cookies. I got it from the club. It's like 14%. It's really good. Nice and woody and sweet. But anyways, so you guys can increase in your soil, okay? You can increase the amount of fungi by adding living organic matter, water, and allowing minimal disturbance. Those things are all really important. So you want to add organic matter like leaves, stems, all that stuff, okay? Your refuse, your waste, all the things you would compost typically, all those things are organic matter. You want to add those things along with adding water that's at the right temperature. You don't want the water to be super hot or cold. And then you have to have minimal disturbance. This is what's different than compost. With a compost, you would turn it to make sure the heat is evenly distributed and get that pile working, okay, to distribute the bacteria. But in this case, you're developing fungus. So what you want to do is avoid disturbing the top. That's why we kind of do no-till. I mean, if you have to do something to the top, you kind of have to do what you have to do. But you want to avoid rototilling or tilling or using trowels, things like that. Like I used to love tilling my tomatoes up because it worked. It gave air to my roots. But then I realized that it was taking more root structure away and disturbing the mycorrhizae, disallowing that symbiotic relationship with my plant. So therefore my plant was not as strong as it could have been. I didn't know that at the time because I hadn't seen what a strong plant looked like. I had just been working with these plants that I was tilling and hitting with a trowel, you know what I mean? And then I started realizing, okay, if I stop disturbing them and I let the mycorrhizae work, what's going to happen? Well, I tried it, and dude, the results were just phenomenal. So I've later on verified the science that it's real. These kind of fungus really do develop without disturbances. Let them be for as long as you can. Add water, and they will develop over time. Okay, that's why we reuse soils. And at the end of the season, I'm going to go over you guys with you guys what I do with my roots and what I do with these pots. You're really going to like it, I think. So that's for later. So another thing about teas. Okay. Well, real quick about the last part is things like activated compost. They are good to add into teas. Okay, humic acid and kelp and yucca. These are all really great things to add to teas, okay? That you can use as an organic matter to promote the growth of fungus, okay? So the teas, I want to talk to you guys real quickly about fungal-dominated teas or fungal-dominant teas, and some of the info associated with that. Basically, they make an acid called it's like oxalic acid, and it lowers the pH of your soil. All right. Bacteria, on the other hand, it makes it's like a gel or a glue that is alkaline, so it raises the pH of your soil. Okay, so fungi lowers the pH of your soil because of oxalic acid. Bacteria raises the pH of your soil because it's alkaline. Okay, the glue that it creates is alkaline. Your plants will regulate this ratio of bacteria to fungus through the release of energy. Okay, so your plant will essentially release these things called exudates. Exudates it's like fluid that allows for like the exchange of materials. Okay, it's the best. What's the best way I can put this to you guys? An exudate is like a. Sorry, I was waiting for a big blast because I saw a flash. An exudate is where your plant allows something to leave itself, to exude, to exit, okay? To leave, exhaust, in that kind of way. So your plant will regulate itself. The amount of bacteria and fungus that you have will be regulated naturally through these exudates, okay? It's a really complex process that happens down there, but if anybody wants to know, just email me the question and I'll hit you up with the answer about exudates. But anyways, what else? Oxygen's important in your teas, okay? Because I think like right around 12% and prime temperatures is ideal, is like where it maxes out. Your oxygen levels in your soil can only go to like 12%. I don't know if anybody's aware of that. I just figured you guys already knew like that because it's kind of basic. Right around 12%, like I said, is where your level, your O2 levels begin to max out in the water. All right. So if you guys are aerating water for days on end or whatever, that's not how it works. Okay. That's just not. And if anybody's like, hey, you need to aerate your teas for like 4 days or 3 days and shit, it's like, oh no, or stuff. Excuse me. It's like, no, don't do that. Okay. I love you guys. Don't do that. But anyways, so I'm gonna give you guys a quick pre-input recipe on what you can do for a tea. All right, that's fungal dominant later on down the road. So what you guys are going to do is you're going to take 5 or 6 gallons of water, all right, and to that 5 or 6 gallons of water, you're going to put 3 tablespoons rather, of liquid kelp. Then you're going to take 2 teaspoons of either humic or fulvic acid, okay. Either one's fine. You can use Humax is a good thing to use. All right, Humax works really well. 2 teaspoons of that liquid humic or fulvic acid. Then you want 1 tablespoon or less, give or take, of a sweetener like a molasses. But you got to be real careful with that because molasses and sweeteners like that are what start bacteria, not fungus. Okay, so if you're going to use those, just be careful. So that's in 5 or 6 gallons of water. Then for your pre-input itself to go inside your paint strainer bag, what you're going to use is 5 or 6 cups of worm castings. 4 to 6 cups of worm castings. About 10 tablespoons worth of some kind of fermentable grain, like an oat bran. Usually oat flour is what I would use when I had more space, you know. I don't tend to use these anymore because the growth is just too great. It just creates massive growth, and I can't do it back here. You know, I can't afford to, you know what I mean? But this is what I would have used if I had more space. So like I said, 10 tablespoons of that, like an oat flour or a oatmeal or an oat bran, or even like a soybean meal, rather. Any kind of fermentable grain works pretty well. All right, and then you want 2 tablespoons of glacial rock dust. All right, about 2 tablespoons of glacial rock dust, and that'll help to amalgamate everything and bring in some organic matter that's really effective for mineralization. All right, you need minerals in your soil, and that helps. Just a little bit to add to carry things around. So again, 5 cups of fresh worm castings, or 4 to 6, 10 tablespoons of oat flour or some kind of oat bran, some kind of fermentable grain, 2 tablespoons of a glacial rock dust, okay, something of that nature, because you want to bring around the materials where they need to go. And then you want in your water itself, which is about 5 or 6 gallons of water, you're going to want 3 tablespoons of liquid kelp, 2 teaspoons of either humic or fulvic acid, liquid humic or fulvic acid, usually humix works, and then 1 tablespoon or less of molasses. All right, and that's all it takes. You put that into your paint strainer bag, brew that for like 18 to 24 hours. You could go 36 hours to brew this, but again, it's not recommended that you go too long because your dissolved oxygen amount really impacts fungi count. All right, the more dissolved oxygen you can cram into that water, the more fungi you're going to get. All right, so like I said, about 12% is what you can get in there. So cram it in, and then do what you can, you know. So I think that's pretty much it, you guys, as far as energy goes and fungi. We just basically wanted to, you know, talk to you about fungus and the symbiotic relationship that it creates with your plants and things like that. All right, it's really important that you develop your soil food web, because if you do and when you do, you'll have a better plant system. You'll have a better overall rigorous pattern of growth. All right, so it's 4th of July tonight, as you guys can probably tell already. I'm sure I haven't mentioned, as you know. Happy 4th of July, America. You are beautiful. I think she's what, 200, let me see, how old are we, guys? 243 tonight? Something like that, as a constitutional republic. Well, we're a federated republic here in America, but that's fine. Whatever. If you want to argue, we can do that too. But anyways, you guys, we're here because we love America. Make sure you turn one up for freedom. Blaze it for freedom. Blaze it for all the homies that couldn't, you know. And make sure that you guys are solid with your information right now, because I'm noticing a lot of people are getting shut down on YouTube, and people are getting silenced right now, and that's not cool, you know. And the reason that they're doing that is because we're not doing what we should be doing. All right, we should be out here giving information that's solid, that people can rely on, and that people can, you know, pull off later on whenever we go to legalize this crap. Okay, because this medicine that we're growing right here isn't just for us. It's for everybody out there that needs it. It's for everybody out there that wants to learn how to do it. It's for everybody out there that cannot do it. Okay? I mean, you guys, we exercise our freedom with this. So let's try to value it and write things down. Learn as you can go. You know, do what you can to really increase your mindset as far as cannabis goes, and your whole life will change. You'll learn a lot of things just from this one endeavor, you know. I'm sure you guys already know gardening will teach you a lot, you know. But beyond that, you know, just stay out there and stay safe tonight. I pray for you guys, because it is pretty dangerous sometimes. I got a few other little looks here. I got some cherry lemon from the club. There's an eighth right here. I got it for $15 out the door. And then this one is another eighth of trail mix. This is trail mix. I got this for $15 out the door as well. So, and then I got that pre-roll right here for I think $6 out the door, and it's a little over a gram. It's like 1.3 grams, and it's like 14.1%. So it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Anyways, you guys, I love you. Stay good and stay blessed and highly favored. And your boy Obadiah is out. Episode 4 of Let's Learn in the Box.